I appreciate it. Thank you for that valuable information. I appreciate it. Gentleman yields back. Now I recognize Ms. Trahan for her 5 minutes of questioning.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to thank the families who are here today sharing their stories. I want to thank our witnesses, particularly FTC Commissioner Slaughter, for being here to testify today. I also saw FTC Commissioner Bedoya earlier sitting behind the witnesses, and I want to thank him for coming. Our Democratic FTC commissioners have been through a lot in the past week, and I applaud them for showing up to shed light on the administration's latest assault on independent agencies tasked with protecting hardworking Americans from corporate abuses. The president's unlawful actions don't just hinder the commissioners from doing their work. These reckless and lawless decisions will directly hurt consumers and prevent this committee from enacting strong, effective, and enforceable laws to protect Americans, especially our children, online. The FTC was purposefully designed as an independent agency by Congress. Lawmakers understood the incompatibility of partisanship and consumer protection and sought to safeguard against powerful interests influencing the work of the agency. The FTC's current Republican chair, Andrew Ferguson, understands the importance of independence as well. In his nomination hearing before the Senate Commerce Committee, Ferguson testified that, quote, "Consumer protection and competition are not partisan issues." In an interview with the Mercatus Center last year, Fergus explained that independence encourages careful deliberation and allows for the commission to, quote, "test theories internally before marching them out the door." Chair Ferguson makes a fundamental point that President Trump clearly does not understand. Consumer protection is not and should never be a partisan endeavor. It requires the best minds to come together to protect those who would otherwise be abused by powerful corporate actors. The subject of today's hearing is online safety, particularly for our kids. I've been outspoken about holding big tech accountable, protecting consumers' personal data, and demanding transparency from online service providers. So too have my Republican colleagues with whom I've worked on these issues over the years. But I must ask the obvious question: how can we possibly legislate to protect Americans online when the FTC, the cops on the beat of enforcing federal competition and consumer protection laws, lacks its independence? What does it mean for independent governance if the FTC's sitting commissioners can be arbitrarily fired by a capricious president? And while we talk about President Trump's illegal attempt to block dedicated consumer protectors from completing their work, we must also acknowledge the precarious environment in which FTC employees are currently doing their work. President Trump's illegal attempt to fire Commissioner Slaughter and Bedoya adds further uncertainty to a work culture laden with looming fears of mass layoffs and forced relocations. Preserving the FTC's independence while increasing its capacity should be a goal shared by every member of this committee, especially if we hope to pass meaningful legislation to protect consumers and kids online. Commissioner Slaughter, I only have one question for you today, and you can take the entire balance of the time to answer it. How important is a strong and independent FTC for watchdogging online harms, especially threats to consumer privacy?
Thank you. Excuse me. It's critically important. It is critically important. There is not another federal agency that is doing this work. There is not a substitute for the FTC in terms of policing the world's most powerful corporations and policing them without fear or favor. I think there's also no substitute for the FTC in terms of the work we do to provide transparency and accountability through our market studies, through our research program, through our testimony to Congress. That is work that I have been so honored to do, first as a minority commissioner, then as a majority commissioner, and now as a minority commissioner again. I've seen all sides of it, and I've seen the real benefits that the American people get from having a balance of perspectives on the FTC, the way Congress designed, and the way the Supreme Court upheld almost 100 years ago.
Well, thank you for your service. I yield back.
I thank the